All right. So when you get on Preply, this is going to be what your Preply dashboard looks like. Now you'll notice I'm not actively teaching on Preply anymore, so I do not have much money. I'm not taking any students on Preply anymore. I'm focusing on something else right now. But this is what your dashboard is going to look like. And so when it comes to being seen on Preply, your profile score is huge. The things are your profile score, and then what's going to help you get students is your ratings and how many reviews you have. Now you'll notice the reason I put $80 per hour is because I do not want to get bookings. I, so this is actually another hack that you can use. If there's a time where you do not want to get bookings, you simply raise your price. And, there's the up here, there's a hide my profile. Do not use this. And the reason is if you use the hide my profile function, when you go to unhide your profile, you are going to be hidden in the algorithm. The algorithm is not going to prioritize you. And you're going to have to wait a couple, 2 or 3 weeks for the algorithm to pick you up again. So if ever you want to take a break, you want to, you're focusing on something else, you're doing something else, boom, just raise your prices to ridiculous levels. Because at this point, if somebody wants to pay me $80 an hour, great. Then I'll take them. But other than that, I'm focusing on other projects. So there's a tip there. But yeah, when it comes to being seen, it is your most of all your profile score, and if you're a super tutor, which if you go down here, there is this, right? So there's a couple of qualifications. There's right 7 of them. So basically, right, this is all your qualifications. It's pretty simple. It's all right there. So lessons, review ratings. Now, this one is where it becomes important to uh, have good trial lessons because if they don't subscribe after the trial lesson, they will penalize your tutor, your super tutor status. Now, this is fixable, right? It does, as it says right here, it does refresh every 90 days. So if you do get penalized, you will be okay. And it's not like not being a super tutor it means you get no students. You'll still get students, but this does help and this boosts you in the algorithm. So most of this though, and most of the profile score, which is most important when you're starting out, is going to be in your profile, which is right here, right? So that's going to be not your about section. It's going to be more your photo, description, and video. And one more thing, I know we already did photo and all these things, right? But one more thing here is also the subjects. So when you first set up your tutor profile, it's very important to fill out all of this here, all of these subjects, and do as many of these as you can. Because here's the thing, similar to, for example, if you're on Google, right? If you have a website and you're on Google, you want to focus on SEO. And what's SEO? It's search engine optimization, right? So when you're doing SEO, you want to optimize your site, or in this case, your profile, in a way where you can be found. So the more of these you fill out, the more Preply's out, the more um, objects you're giving the Preply algorithm to basically grab onto, right? So you want to fill out as much as possible, and that's why I put all of these guys, right? Me personally, I didn't want to work with beginners, so I didn't check that. If you do, that's great. So you might get kids, you might get, or just really beginner language learners. And if that's your thing, then check that. That's great. Years of experience. So this is something where I would recommend you to kind of think outside the box. Um, so when I put 6 years of experience, that doesn't mean I've been tutoring for 6 years. I I hadn't tutored for 6 years. In fact, I hadn't tutored at all. But I have taught things. I've been a tour guide. I've taught things in previous jobs. I've, I tutored a family friend for a while in math. Anything where you've taught people stuff, you just put that on there, right? Or also, if for example, I've positioned myself as a business English tutor, especially, the way I positioned myself was I positioned myself as technical, right? Technical English, because I've worked in engineering, I've worked in tech, I've done these things. So these years of experience also contain that. So I put that as well. So for example, if you're, if you set your profile up as test prep, for example, right? If you've been preparing for tests for a long time, or you've prepared for, for a few really big ones, I don't know, SATs, or, you know, or you've helped other people prepare for tests, like you can put that on there. You can put that on there. And yeah, I just don't feel scared about inflating this just a little bit. And you might think that, oh, that's kind of dishonest. It's not. That's how marketing works, right? That's just how marketing works. So that's something that everybody does. That's just how it is. That's how you succeed. So yeah, I hope that answers questions. And if you have questions, please feel free to go ahead and put them in the comment section of the video, and I'll answer any questions that I can get to there. So then, of course, the age groups, and then these descriptions. So these descriptions cannot be exactly the same, but they kind of can be similar. So you'll notice how I did my descriptions, right? But then I'm a native, right? I'm American. Boom, just did this. This is a good one. Business English, put something similar, right? This one's, you'll notice, is almost exactly the same as this one, right? But I just changed the wording just a little bit. Now, if I were to go back, I would actually put this one too. I've helped some students prepare for. I did the TOEFL, but I could figure out this one as well. And so yeah, put as many of these as you possibly can. We'll just see how I've done this. Boom. This, you'll notice, this almost exactly the same as this one, almost exactly the same as this one, but the wording is just slightly different, because if you do them all the same, Preply will tell you that they'll accept it, and then like 3 or 4 days later, they'll come back to you and say, oh, these are exactly the same, you have to change them. So just have slight wording differences and you'll be just fine. Now, yeah, any of these that you feel you can help with, boom, do all of these. Yeah, so that's gonna be huge to getting you discovered, to basically boosting where your profile is. And that is how the rankings work. So this is huge. Do not skip this. And then optimizing your video, description, photo. It might take a little bit of trial and error, depending on what they, right, what feedback is giving you, what your profile score is. You'll notice too, the way I did my video is with a thumbnail. That helps. That's helpful. So if you can create a thumbnail, it's pretty simple. I use Figma. You can use Canva, Figma. They're all free, completely free, and you can make just a simple thumbnail like this. And it helps because it sets you apart, because most people don't have something like this, right? The vast majority of tutors are going to have just, the first frame of their video. You can stand out, you can look more professional, and that makes you look more polished, and makes see, when you're a tutor on here, you kind of have a personal brand, right? So it enhances your personal brand. And description, I know we already went over this, but yeah, if this is something that, this is something you can play with, if you find that your ranking, right, that out of 100 number is not where you want it to be, and you want it to be 90 or above. So I hope that's helpful, and I'll see you in the next one.